Hello everybody and welcome back, where today we're talking about the PSVR1 games that need a port to PSVR2, whether they still stand the test of time and will be amazing on the latest headset, or if they're just a bit of nostalgic fun. There's a ton on this list that some of you may have played, may not have played, but I loved back on PSVR1 and that should be ported to PSVR2. Whether or not this will actually happen, probably a very, very low chance, but it's fun to dream, so that's what we're doing today. Before we get into it, only 25% you are subscribed, so please feel free to do so, and thank you to our patrons and YouTube members for keeping the channel going day after day and week after week. With that being said, let's get straight into it. Kicking us off, there's a certain Resident Evil game that is absent on PSVR2, and that is the game that kicked off the Winter Saga. Resident Evil 7 was a fantastic time on PSVR1. It was absolutely terrifying, but incredibly immersive, and I just imagine how good it would be on PSVR2 with HDR, with full motion controls, and it would just round off the package of having both Resi 7 and 8 being able to be played back to back on the same headset. Following on from this, another hybrid game is Skyrim VR. It's beloved on PCVR with tons of mods over there, but even the vanilla experience on PSVR1 was a breathtaking time. Being inside the world of Skyrim, seeing your favourite locations, NPCs, and fighting in your favourite battles with iconic weapons was such an immersive experience, and I truly loved it. I sorely miss it on PSVR2, and it would sell so much. Previously, I'd say there's no chance of this happening due to Microsoft's stance on making things cross-platform. However, with Microsoft opening up lanes to other companies, such as Forza Horizon being confirmed, along with the fact that we're most likely getting Microsoft Flight Sim and Halo MCC sometime this year, I wouldn't say this one is impossible. One that does seem impossible though is Astro Bot Rescue Mission. I wish that we get a port of this to PSVR2. I've only briefly played through Astro Bot and didn't spend enough time with it on PSVR1, and I'd love to have a port on PSVR2 so I can truly enjoy this one. Astro Bot is a flat screen icon, but started as a VR mascot, and I think he should return to that with a port of this game. Another game that was quite iconic for PSVR1 was PSVR Worlds, a sort of demo disc of sorts that allowed you to play through a bunch of different experiences, with two being ones that stand out to me, and that is the Shark Encounter and Scavenger's Odyssey. There was the London Heist as well, but we'll get onto what that evolved into in a second. But all in all, these were fantastic experiences that even if some of them weren't too long, they still stuck in your mind, and stuff like the Shark Encounter does still hold up. I played through it not too long ago on the channel and I really loved it, and I wish that we'd get these ported over to PSVR2, and if we could get them as, say, a free demo disc or something like that, that would be amazing. I did mention the London Heist there as well, and that actually evolved into Blood and Truth, which is another PSVR shooter that had quite a decent story and so many set pieces and tons of awesome action that would really benefit from having a port to PSVR2. The haptics, better tracking, and better visuals would make this game really come to life, and a remaster would be amazing. However, I'm not sure how probable that is. Before we go any further, this video is sponsored by VRROCK. Now, VRROCK make prescription lenses for all VR headsets, including PSVR2, and I use them on my own PSVR2. Whether you need prescription or non-prescription, blue light blocking and anti-glare filter options, and magnetic or non-magnetic options, they have everything covered for you. Whether you actually need them to replace your glasses, or you just want them as a bit of protection for your lenses so they don't get scratched, I have had mine on since day one and I've really loved them. Please check them out in the link in the description, and thank you for them for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back on with it, shall we? Another game that I wish would have a remaster is Farpoint. This PSVR1 game that took advantage of the aim controller would be perfect for the PSVR2 with the two sense controllers, allowing for more immersion. And it's just such a shame that this incredible story is locked to an older headset, and so many people won't get to play it. It has some of the best visuals on any VR game that I've played to date, and some incredible combat and story beats. Speaking of combat, Star Wars Squadrons is another game that has incredible space combat. It's still playable on the flat screen, it's another hybrid game, but it had full VR compatibility with PSVR1, and I wish EA hadn't washed their hands clean of VR in the PSVR space. Their VR implementation is really not the best on PCVR. They're really doing the bare minimum there to get it going, and we only really get F1 and Dirt Rally, as of recently at least, so I don't see Star Wars Squadrons getting a port or any other EA game like F1 on PSVR2, although I wish it would happen. Speaking of them, Dirt Rally is another that I wish would get a port. It's great on PCVR, it's great on the original PSVR1, again I played it not too long ago, and it still holds up, and it's an incredible racing experience, and we need more racing games on PSVR2. The only two good ones really we have are Exocars and GT7, and I wish there were more. Speaking of racing games, Wipeout is another that people really love. It's one of the fastest feeling racing games I've ever played, and for very good reason. The action is so visceral here, and I really miss this. Wipeout is a franchise that we haven't seen for a very long time, and I wouldn't be surprised if a new Wipeout game did include PSVR2 compatibility, so We'll have to see. Another game that could have a sequel that would have PSVR2 compatibility is Ace Combat. Now, Ace Combat 7 in particular was the PSVR1 game that was great with its free flight and VR missions. Again, I played this not too long ago on the channel. It still holds up, but I really hope that Ace Combat 8 has PSVR2 compatibility. That would be awesome. Before he left, Shuhei Yoshida said that it's most likely going to, as he had a lot of comments on Twitter, with the lead devs of the new Ace Combat game heavily hinting at VR support, so hopefully it hasn't been dropped. Having Ace Combat 8 and Aces of Thunder on the same headset would be unreal. A game that I really loved as a kid playing on the PSVR1 was Robinson the Journey. I'm a big dinosaur fan, and this dinosaur adventure had some genuinely scary moments and breathtaking visuals, and to my 14-year-old brain, it really did look real, and I really wish it would get a port to PSVR2. It does have a Steam release though, so perhaps I'll just have to pick it up there. The Doom games on PSVR1 were also a great time. We have games like Metal Hellsinger and Hellsweeper VR to fill in that role a little bit, but Doom VFR on PSVR1 was just visceral, and it was the actual Doom games. It was officially licensed, which gave it a bit more gravitas. Having Bethesda come back and do a Doom VR game fully, properly would be unreal. Imagine the possibilities of glory kills in VR. Similarly, Borderlands on PSVR1 was beloved as well, announced on the 2nd anniversary of the headset. In contrast, we got nothing on the 2nd anniversary of PSVR2, which is really disappointing. Nevertheless, it was a great addition to the original headset's lineup, has an already established fan base and would do well on PSVR2, and we can only dream that it'll come over. Well, those are my PSVR1 games that I wish would come over to PSVR2. Are there any that you guys are thinking of? Please do let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.